The patch notes just came out, and we have some pretty huge buffs, but also the nerfs are out as well, and I think they're not as scary as people make them out to be. In this video, I will go over all of the buffs and nerfs, and tell you what are my thoughts about how that's gonna impact the meta. So if you're serious about Hearthstone, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget you can hire me for some Hearthstone coaching. Now, let's check out the cards.
You are not prepared!
So, the big nerf to Death Knight is it's no longer actually gonna be able to discover triple rune cards, which is definitely not a small nerf, but I don't believe this is actually gonna break the Death Knight class as a whole. Yeah, there's definitely some huge triple rune cards you could be discovering, but still, this is also gonna make the discover pool a lot more consistent for the class, which is also somewhat of a buff, even though we obviously know it's a huge nerf not being able to discover things like the Scourge, the Frostworm, and so on. The nerf to Rowdy Fan is, as expected, it's only gonna be giving +3 attack, and that sounds really fair because it's still a pretty powerful card. And also the nerf to Frigidara is not significant, because we're only losing a couple of attack on her as well. It would have been a lot harder of a nerf if this went up to 7, because you wouldn't be able to curve out well for your Frostworm, so I do believe Frost Death Knight is gonna remain a top tier deck. Even though people are gonna initially stop playing it as much, but they're gonna come back to it. Trust me on this one. Twig of the World Tree kinda got totally demolished, and while it's probably not gonna use too much of it anymore, because now it only refreshes your mana crystals, which is not a bad effect, but definitely not crazy for wild, so I don't know about that. And now moving on to the buffs, seems like I got most of these right. Starting off with Warrior and Rockmaster Voon is indeed gonna be costing only 3 mana now, and it's gonna be a 4/3. Verse Riff is only 1 mana, but it's still giving you +2/+2, so that's exactly what I said. The Bridge Riff is also 5 mana, same text, same everything, so that's as well gonna be pretty decent now. We also have Power Slider actually getting its stats buffed, and now even with a single minion played, it's gonna be an okay minion to play like a turn 3. Shield Block got a huge buff, being a 2 mana gain 5 draw card. That is pretty much very premium stuff right there. And if Warrior actually does take off, I'm assuming this is gonna be the first card getting reverted. Fright and Flunky also became a 2/3 as expected. Nothing too huge there, but it's definitely a lot more usable now. And we also have Tori Belor being able to revive infinite times now, so it's basically like a Rat King, but instead of killing minions, you just gotta be casting fire spells, which definitely sounds decent. With Infinitize the Maxitude, we actually have an interesting buff here, and it's still remaining at 2 mana, but the spell you discover is gonna be discounted by 1, so that's pretty nice, and it could allow you to do some good combos like that. Audio Splitter actually goes down to a 2 mana 3/2, which is kind of interesting. I guess it's gonna be a little bit better to curve out with the deck now like that, so that makes some sense. We obviously have Spitelash Siren going back to its original form being a 4 mana 2/5. Arcane Artificer, obviously 1 mana 1/3, as all 1-drops should be if you want to play them most of the time. Very huge buff for Hunter, with Stranglehorn Heart actually going down with 2 mana, so you're definitely gonna be a lot more flexible on playing this card, even though you are gonna have less time of actually playing more 5-drops. It's still gonna allow you to be decently flexible about it, giving you that 2 extra mana to actually try and find this card, or actually hero power, or do something else. Calderon also received an interesting buff, and now it's actually gonna give the +1 spell damage even to the spells in your hand, which is pretty nice, and you're not gonna be swearing at the game for drawing your arcane spells before you play this. Jazzbass got updated with 1 extra attack instead of dropping the mana, which is not a huge buff to it, but it's still nice extra chip damage, and you will be able to be trading a little bit easier with things. We also have Altered Chord getting a very slight buff, bumping the damage from 5 to 6. Flowrider actually becomes a 1-drop, which is kind of a weird 1-drop because you're technically not going to want to play this on turn 1, but it is going to allow you to actually be a lot more flexible about using this, so you can actually fit in what you discovered into your turn. Lightstorm obviously is only going to overload for 1, which was definitely expected. For Warlock, we have the Fatigue package getting a good buff, with Crescendo going down 1 mana from 3 mana to 2. As well as the Crazed Conductor, which used to be a 5 mana 4/5, now it's gonna be a 4 mana 3/4, and it's gonna be pretty huge being able to tempo out this on turn 4, like it's literally, if you've played a single Fatigue card already, this is gonna be a turn 4 or even turn 3 grand total of 9 attack and 10 health that early, which can be pretty huge. Siphon Soul also gets 1 mana shaved off, which is definitely pretty huge for the class, and is gonna be a lot easier for them to control the boards. And moving down to Rogue, we have the same treatment like the Shaman weapon, bumping up the attack with 1, which again is going to allow them to trade a little bit better into things. And we also have the legendary McBlinktron, becoming a 5 mana 5/5, which is a grand total of 3 extra stats because it used to be a free attack for health. For Priest, like predicted, it actually is gonna have a 3 mana Holy Nova, and this sounds really scary, and now Control Priest is gonna be even more annoying to play against. And moving now to Druid, we also have Kiri, Chosen of Elune, like I said, shaved off 1 mana, being a 3 mana 2/2. So it's gonna be a little bit of a more flexible card to actually be able to include in your decks. And the 6 mana Dev Blossom goes down to a 5 mana 6/5 attack instead of a 6 mana 7/6, so it's gonna be a little bit easier to actually play it. All around with these buffs and nerfs, we're sure to be seeing a lot more Warrior on ladder now, and it's not gonna be the joke of Hearthstone anymore. And maybe the Managerial Warrior is gonna be a little bit better now, and who knows, maybe even Control Warrior is gonna start seeing play. As for Enrage Warrior, I don't think we actually got too much support for it here, so maybe that's not gonna change too much, since right now it's kind of a bottom tier 2 at best kind of deal. But like I said, I'm definitely sure that Frost Death Knight is gonna remain a top tier class. Maybe it is gonna drop Rowdy Fan, but Frigadara definitely is gonna remain. I still believe Blood Death Knight should remain a pretty good control variant for people to rely on, and the nerf is not really gonna touch it too much. And also Unholy didn't really get changed too much, even though the Rowdy Fan did get some utilization there as well, so there's that. But along for the Discovers, I don't think it hurts it too much. Even though being able to discover the Scourge definitely was a huge deal for all 3 variants. As for Mage, it's also gonna get a nice little breath of fresh air because Spite/Siren is gonna be just huge, as well as the Arcane Artificer, so those 2 alone are very big buffs for the class. For Hunter, I'm not really sure if that's gonna change too much about how the class feels right now, and it's probably gonna remain somewhat not as amazing as it used to be. Shaman definitely seems like it might get a little bit more play now, but I'm still not exactly sure it's gonna pan out for it. But for Warlock, surely the Fatigue package is definitely gonna make aggressive variants of Imp Warlocks great again. About Rogue, I'm not really sure this is gonna change too much about the class, and it's probably still gonna rely on the Pirate synergies and the Miracle Rogue variants. Priest, like I said, is gonna become even scarier with the Holy Nova down to 3 mana. And with Druid, I'm not exactly sure what we're gonna be copying the Death Rattle of with the Wamper, but the Kiri definitely looks like a solid card you can include all around in most control variants. After going over all of these archetypes, I'm definitely excited to see how nerfed the Frost Death Knight really is. And like I said, I'm pretty sure it's actually gonna be feeling very good. And maybe I'm also gonna try some Imp Fatigue Warlock as well, to see how that one works now, because those buffs definitely look pretty big. If you guys wanna check me out live on stream, you could do so right now, and I will be live for a few hours to test the new meta, so I can give you guys good gameplay videos as soon as tomorrow. So that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Let me know what you think the buffs and nerfs will do to the meta in the comments below. And if you found the video helpful, definitely drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, I'm Kris05, and I'll see you in my next video, or stream.